Yeah, I specifically gave you that one.
It's a great username.
How did you know he was going to sit there?
I don't talk.
Yeah.
I could be called the murderer of ravens, in a sense. Although, I didn't kill him at the end, did I? Spoiler.
Instead of working on the introductions, they were like clairvoyantly determining where we're going to sit.
Awesome.
Hi, guys.
How's it going? How you guys doing?
It's great. We love Washington. You guys have a beautiful state. The weather's great. The water's clean. The air is clean. What can we say? We're loving it. It's green. It's my favorite color.
I was going to ask if you ever been to Washington, but you already jumped right into it.
Well, I live here in Lake Stevens,
Oh.
4.5 to 5.5 years old. Hey, Lake Stevens in the house. And interestingly enough, so I come from a big Italian family, and my ancestors, my great-grandmother and great-grandfather came over from Calabria, Italy, and they landed in Tacoma, Washington, of all places. So they have 11 kids, so I'm still meeting relatives today, like there's 200 plus of us. And so, yeah, I have a special place in my heart for your state.
I went to the University of Oregon. I still get booed. That is the greatest shit ever. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, now we gotta kind of lay it aside now, because now we're both moving on to the conference. So I want to let you know the hatchet is buried, and I will pull now for the University of Washington Huskies against all foes except for.
How about the Beavers?
Who? But that's
sorry.
When people don't live in Oregon and Washington, that's the great misconception. They think that Oregon State is on the way. They're not. They're like our little sibling. I remember when I first came in, probably 12 years. I did this was in Seattle. I did my panel wearing my game jersey from the booze lasted for 5 minutes. Oh, it was so great. I felt right at home. Because I get booed when I walk in my house.
We're going to get you a special made KRATOS jersey.
I'm sorry.
We're going to get you a special made KRATOS jersey from Oregon.
Like an Oregon one or
Yeah.
Washington?
Well, both. Yeah.
I like it.
I'm trying to picture an intimidating looking duck. That's what I'm having a hard time.
Well, the actual moniker is the Oregon Mighty Ducks.
Oh, the mighty.
That is
The mighty
that
duck.
is the actual moniker. So, sorry.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, let's do it.
Enough about our past.
So,
Go fight Wind Ducks. Okay, that was it.
that's the last one for a little while. We'll throw it on there. I say he'll throw one more in there later.
Okay. Cool.
So I've been playing God of War since the first release, and when this game came out, I was a little bit skeptical of like them continuing the story and the whole Norse mythology and everything like that. But you guys did a fantastic job with your characters. And did you see any challenges? When you got these roles, and like how did you prepare to be these characters?
Besides the hate mail with death threats, I didn't know how seriously folks take the games. I mean, I saw my kids, but I thought, they were the younger people. I didn't know it didn't have like an age group. So my kids had played God, and I knew it was popular, but I didn't understand how beloved KRATOS is and was, and how beloved TC is and was. So the vitriol that I got when it was announced that I was playing KRATOS kind of took me by surprise. But I really didn't feel the weight of it until the reveal at E3. And I mean, still, it's still one of the greatest moments of my professional life, if not the greatest. And then that's when the pressure really hit. Because like, the love is just overwhelming. But I'm glad it still continues.
I mean, I love it. You're amazing in character, and I hope that you continue doing it for 20 plus years or however much longer.
Well, I'm 60, so that might be a little weird.
Can't we just put you in a time capsule? Like, just put you on ice
Honey,
at
I've been
night?
in a time capsule for 14 years.
Indeed. I didn't know what game I had booked. I didn't know what game I was auditioning for. And if you've ever heard me talk about my relationship with video games, like my prowess ended around Super Mario, like the old school like version from the 90s. So, and I'm really great at Miss Pac-Man. I saw that y'all have some arcades. I did not know that. And now, when my line is slow, you know where to find me.
Did you say y'all?
I just moved to Atlanta.
For 1 month.
I am a chameleon, and I become my environment. Have you not seen my work for the past 14 years? Okay. Thank y'all. So, so I didn't know what was at stake because I did not understand the breadth and the intensity and the capacity of these video games. Like, I'd seen them in my peripheral. And the moment that Chris was talking about at E3, when that happened for me, was at our wrap party. And we walked in, and so we had just gone through 5 years. So for me, it was 4. Was it a full 5 years? About full 5? We had gone through this experience together. And of course, eventually I found out what game I had booked at the table read, in which I thought I was going to get fired because I was like up against like Chris Judge, and his voice was booming, and I was like, I don't belong here. And eventually I found my way as Freya. But 5 years later, you know, because we shoot it sporadically, we walked in, and when I saw the image of, you know, my character, our characters up on the wall with the music playing, I just like literally started weeping because I couldn't believe the scale and how beautiful it was. And of course, watching the playthrough, I was like, this is a movie. This is meaningful. This narrative. This, you know, be better. I mean, like what they're teaching people through this game is unlike any other video game. I mean, maybe there's a couple that have that type of life lesson woven into the narrative, but. Yeah, so that was when it struck me just how powerful this game is and where video games had actually evolved to.
That's amazing. Have you either of you played the game? Or because I know you mentioned your kids have played the game, but have you?
I don't see well enough, nor do I have the manual dexterity to keep it from being frustrated. But I watched my son Cameron play it for 7 days straight. And my kids went to a high school where I was the least famous parent. So nothing I've ever really done has impressed them. My son said, Daddy's the best game I've ever played. And of course, then I was an idiot, just broke down crying. He's like that, butcher. Yeah. So it was, because we work in such a vacuum that we have no way of knowing, kind of, it's just blind trust. But fortunately, what a great group of people to trust, you know, and so literally it was just do the work. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. And so when it was that, we were like, oh, shit, sounds good.
And as you know exactly where the volume, it is quite literally like a vacuum space, and they are basically cameras all around getting every single angle, not to mention one right in your face, to get every expression. And we knew what we were experiencing and feeling and sharing as cast members, and then which sort of permeated beyond. I mean, even every one of the sound booth, there were moments where we were all weeping and all really in this world together. But then to know that that translated through in the game into all of your living rooms, bedrooms, and hearts and souls and minds was
I hope not their bedrooms.
And here we go. Here we
My
go.
wife is going, be better, boy.
And every wife is saying, bow to your queen.
I swear I have Tourette's, so just bear with me.
I like the excuse.
Awesome. So, all right, that's a great thing to.
That sounded like maybe that hit too close to home.
Yeah. There's some deeply rooted, emotional connection there. In terms of emotional connection, though, I was a fan of the old school God of Wars. That was the first time I had experienced the game, Kratos as a character, all of that stuff. I remember it being a hack and slash, gory, very quick paced type of game where it's just always in your face and you're constantly going and killing different gods, different demons, all of that stuff. One of the most amazing things to me about the revamp, God of War and God of War Ragnarok, is the different sort of whole landscape they decided to create within the franchise itself and how they took the story, really fleshed out the plot, all of that stuff, and almost made it more like a 40-hour virtual movie that you experience and sort of emotionally connect to. My question to you guys is, were you guys aware that they were going to have this complete sort of remake and reimagining of the franchise as a whole? And when you were doing the voiceover and the characters, did that evoke any sort of emotion or feelings within you guys with where the game was going and how incredible and well the plot was sort of weaved?
I would say when I finally found out what video game I was doing,
That is true.
I went back and I'm such a researcher and copious note taker. You can ask Chris. Like I was like, I gotta Wikipedia. I gotta go down the rabbit hole. I gotta learn everything about this. So I did watch some of the scenes in God of War 1 through 3 and the way that he had relations with many of the women. I was a little like, what have I signed up for? And I'm playing the goddess Freya, the goddess of love, and sex, and fertility. I said, I don't think I want to go down this road, but of course, I mean, he is a strapping man, and you do love the beard. I love the bearded Kratos, yes I do. Everyone knows. But I will say that then just to understand the way that they completely turned and shifted this character, obviously I'm going to let Chris speak to this by giving him a son and no longer looking at the weight behind him and actually having regret and wanting to make better choices for his son. And so then the way that Freya's character mirrors that, from the mother component and with the child that's, just the relationship that's now marred that she's trying to heal and put back together, and their friendship, the journey. And I will sum it up with this, it landed on me in Ragnarok how significant it was because they took Freya to a certain point where now she had nothing to lose, right? And she cursed that curse that everyone knows at the end of the fourth game, every agony, every violation imaginable, and she makes good on that promise, but then of course through the course of Ragnarok finds forgiveness and letting go, and this friendship that's forged is absolutely stunning, just to show you the way we can shapeshift as people, and we can choose, we can be better, we can choose forgiveness and love and heal. And to me, that's when it really punched me in the gut to know it was a risk and it was worth it, every bit of it. That was what it was for me.
Absolutely, I totally agree. And to be honest, I was a little, I want to say skeptical when I saw kind of the direction they were going initially with all the trailers and everything with the revamp.
Everyone else sees it.
What are you talking about?
I think somebody's leaning on the light switches, yeah.
Okay.
As I said, I'm 16, so I just wanted to make sure I wasn't stroking.
Lights out, baby.
Yeah, I saw your facial expression change for a second, and I was sitting here like, okay. Fair enough, but yeah, I was saying, I have not experienced a video game that sort of vast and detailed, and you could tell there was so much time and care put into the whole idea with the bringing in of Atreus, the kind of building of the relationship between Kratos and Atreus. One of the things I remember is in the beginning of the game, at least the first game, you call him boy.
Stay off my money.
And at the end of the game, yeah, he finally earns the respect to be called Atreus. And I think one of the big sort of like points of that whole game was sort of that emotional connection starting to develop and mature. And to be honest myself, I saw Kratos almost change a little more, you know, as Atreus was growing up and he started to see the innocent qualities and the good qualities that Atreus had. Yeah, I think, Christopher, this would be a great time for you to interject just with your thoughts about it.
Enjoying it.
Well, I could talk for a while, but you should probably cut me off at a certain point.
No, I think you touched on a great deal of it. I'd like to touch more on kind of, an actor's life is very transactional. You get roles, and then you try to determine how much of me is this role worth. And it's not only about money, it's about how it's written. Honestly, it's about where you are on the call sheet. Because you know if you're number 4 or 5, when you're pouring your heart out, the camera's gonna be on number 1 to see his reaction or her reaction to you pouring your heart out. So it makes you guard and be protective of your internal life, your emotions. And I have sort of had the experience with Stargate where I can kind of use stuff that's happened to me in the past, sort of. But once again, it's you have this emotional stuff, and they cut to, you know, God bless them, I love them, but they cut to Rick to see what Rick's reaction is, what O'Neill's reaction is to Teal's problem. So when I read this piece, and I don't know, I think I might have been the only one that got the entire script all at once. It was.
They gave you the script?
Yeah.
I have been waiting.
Wait, you thought the entire script was your like 100-something pages?
Otherwise, clearly.
So the script was like 800 and some pages. And I'm reading this journey, and I kind of just made a decision that I've been bitching about not getting great material at that time for the 30 years that I've been in the business. And I just made a decision where if ever I was just gonna lay it all out, it was gonna be this. And so on the first day, I'll never forget, we shot him retrieving the Blades of Chaos the first day. So we hadn't really talked about who do you want this guy to be? Because I had then at that point watched some of the old cutscenes from the previous games. And so Corey and I talked, and he said, let it fly. You know, because there's very few times where you get to see a lead character show a lot of emotion, you know, because there's this thought in it, especially if it's a leading man. If he's too emotional, that makes him weak. And that was the first time that I'd ever heard, you can't take it too far. Whatever comes up, comes up. And he left me with it. Let it fly. And that's how we kind of, like, look the last 10 years, just let it fly.
So not only has Kratos had an amazing character arc and development, you also have like this role kind of. How does that like? How do you for your role with Kratos and Freya, Danielle? When did it click in like reading the script? You said 800 pages. That's an insane amount. Like I don't think I could read through that. But when did it click? Was that emotionally for you guys that it is going to reach this height? And because I know that there's been some videos from you where you started crying into that emotion. Is that kind of when it really hit you?
Well, for me, it was immediate because it was a story about a man who wanted to be a father to this child, but he himself had never been fathered. I'm very much captured to that because I wasn't really fathered. So it was immediate for me. In fact, it didn't even start when I got the script. It started in the screen test, in the chemistry test, with Sonny. Sonny at that time was 9 years old, and I was kind of like, this is not foreign to me. I've had 9-year-old boys. So just immediately, I'm gonna do this just like he's one of my sons. And it was just immediate. And it's online now, the chemistry test. But I mean, that's really how we got along from the first day. So it was, all it was then was, every parent's journey with their children has warts. No matter how great it turns out, there's always bumps in the road. And it was just a decision on how many of those bumps I was really willing to go through again with this young man, this child, who in reality is not mine. Because there's a great misconception that at rapid end of the day, you're just taking these characters off like they're a jacket. When you go deep emotionally, you go home with it and you live with it. And a lot of times that's not a great place to be. And this is why I kid her, but I'm in love with her because not only is she one of the most talented actors, period, that I've ever worked with, but her braveness and her grit and her being willing to deal with this incredibly painful shit. I was like, wow, this means life, so it just makes you that much more comfortable in, I don't care what I look like on set. When shit gets to me, it's just gonna get to me. And I'm not worried about being judged because I'm a grown big man weeping, like in the fetal position, weeping because it sometimes just got too much. But we had just such a loving environment, and everyone did it. Everyone. So it just made it a really safe place.
From Chris Judge down, and so I'll just give it right back to you to say that, it really is important who number one on the call sheet is because they set the tone. And, I think this was a moment in Chris's life where it was just perfect, I say it's a God moment, right? God of War moment, in fact, where everything that he had lived, he was able to channel into Kratos so effortlessly. And in a similar vein, I felt that way about Freya. Once I knew who she was, and when I went down the rabbit hole and learned her backstory, I had something similar happen in my life professionally and also personally, a very Odin-type relationship that I was going through. And it's funny because I think this was really a gift. Like, everything you're feeling from us as actors, the visceralness, the truthfulness, is because we did have a safe space to lay bare our souls in a way that was messy sometimes and dangerous sometimes and unfettered. With that scream, that Kratos scream, everyone goes, "Oh, I felt it chills down my spine." Well, so did we. And Chris,
She dislocated my shoulder.
I did. I wasn't going to say it, but I really wanted that vengeance, and I was like a lioness. I knew I needed to get it at that moment. And then, of course, she realizes forgiveness is the only way to true sovereignty and wholeness. So.
Well, you could get there once you dislocate somebody's shoulder.
I got it out. I mean, I had to get it out somehow. You did take my son from me. My only choice to, to repair something in my life. And then, of course, we repaired through each other's relationship. But no, Chris has become one of my best friends. I love him so much, and he really did he wanted the best out of everyone, and you're not always going to find that with the lead of your show. It wasn't about Chris, and Chris brought excellence every single day, and a little humor every now and then to lighten up the mood. But he wanted the best out of everybody, and that really allowed me to show all those aspects and those very vulnerable places that I had to go, as you know, for Freya. And you do take it home with you, and you do live that, and we have lived that since 2014. So much in these characters, and love them so much, and love all of you so much, and love the legacy that we've got to bring to life in this game that has just behemoth-sized and will continue to evolve. We're sure we don't know what that is, but we know that it is.
I do.
Well, he gets the script and he knows what's going on. I don't know anything.
So don't ask. I don't know.
And so with that, I will just say, Freya taught me as much as I was learning in my life about forgiveness, of feeling betrayed, of feeling a shell of who I once was, to learning how to take responsibility for the choices that I have made, which is a huge piece that I hope really lands. Because when Kratos and Freya go to the Norns, they don't want to own their shit. Okay, but they both made choices, and everyone has an excuse for their choice. We have reasons. That was one of my favorite scenes, and I remember I was weepy a lot. And that was one moment where I was just like, I went to Matt and Rich, and I was like, you guys did it. You're making a goddess and a god take responsibility for their choices so that they can grow and evolve and learn. And then inspire, right? Inspire those who are in part of this game. And so, yeah, it's just been a massive gift that has been mirroring my life as much as Kratos and Freya have been mirroring one another to a place of healing and being better.
You touched on it. Through the process, I don't want to give you guys awards and shit like that. It's coming here and seeing what these characters mean to y'all. See, I'm black. I'm black, and no matter where I live, I can say y'all.
Well, I earned my stars. I'm going to sell now. I can't say y'all. Okay, we'll get there.
I was going to say y'all at one point, and now I'm really worried.
Don't do it.
But no, it really does mean everything. More than any award, when you guys appreciate it, and you're just so open and loving about what it is. That is the reward for doing this. That is the reward for the pain. And then it resonated. And it was a common denominator between all of us is that we all want to be loved. We all deserve love. We all deserve to give love. And sometimes life tells you the opposite. And just that we all have bonded over this, that's the
That's beautiful.
Wow.
Really beautiful.
What an epic response.
be better, boy.
Wow. Well, yeah, I can completely see now why so many people connected with your characters, Kratos, Freya, Atreus, Sunny. Mimir. Oh, don't forget Mimir. Yes, please don't forget Mimir. But
I want to see who identified with disembodied head.
He's funny.
He's got
a really good sense of humor.
He's the smartest man alive. Oh, there we go. There's the mirror fan.
I've got a therapist for you.
But yeah, I can totally see it now. And I did not expect such a deep emotional response from that question. And to be honest, I played God of War 1, the first one, because my best friend from Colorado had messaged me. And our biggest thing we connect on is video games. You know, we love each other. We don't get to see each other very often in person, but we connect through this, and that's how we talk. We stay together, and we always kind of just take the special ones and share them with each other. And so every single time I get a text or a message from Reed Hampton asking or telling me about a video game, I'm gonna go look at it. I'm gonna go play it. And this is literally the text he sent me. He was like, Alex. By the way, my name's Alex. I probably should have prefaced this entire thing with that.
Well,
But
you probably got lost in your grand introduction.
look, fair enough. Yeah. Touche.
He does have a hard time letting things go, in case you didn't know. He's a little like Kratos. If I'm like 30 seconds late, he's like, yeah, just like the whole time. He does not hit me anything.
We have a new sitcom we're doing. It's called Waiting on Danielle.
It's not true.
Oh man, we're just taking shots now. We're just taking shots. But yeah,
It's a while
anyways.
to look this fabulous, Chris. I'm sorry. We digress. We digress. And, okay.
Yeah, but long story short, he texted me. He was like, Alex, you need to play this game. It changed me. And he would very rarely say something like that, something that emotional. And, you know, we all have our difficulties and stuff that we've gone through in our past and present. But he was like, it changed me. Just the relationship between father and son, the relationship between all of the characters, and the fact that the characters can take accountability for the actions that they have made in the past. And so I honestly want to thank you for the responses, because I now understand from an empathetic level why the game had such a large reach in that regard, and why it was able to touch so many people's hearts, I think, from a human perspective, you know, not just in a virtual world somewhere you can escape. There's so many connections, I think, that people can create just through the entire storyline and how all of the characters evolve and progress. And I think it's really, really cool when you see sort of a connection between the video game character and the people who are portraying them. That's something that's very rare, just in my personal experience. And so, what a great response. Thank you so much. Yeah. And now, I'm gonna pass it on to Brandon while he's crying, hopefully, just to embarrass him a little bit. But yeah.
No, I mean, I actually cried during Ragnarok, and it was like the best story ever. So all these little answers are definitely just pulling out and making me very emotional. But I appreciate all of everything, and you know, the vulnerability that you guys have shared, and that's just a beautiful thing. And
Vulnerability is the most courageous thing we can do, right? And there's a misnomer, especially I think for men, right?
I think it's often perceived as
weakness.
weakness.
Yeah. No, actually, it's weaker, I believe, to sort of be staunch in your wrongness and not be able to back down, right? And wouldn't it be great if our leaders could maybe take a little bit of that and say, God, you know, we thought we were leading you in the right direction by this choice, but it turns out we weren't. And we're going to own that, and we're going to make different choices. Wouldn't that be an incredible way to lead the world? I mean, even our own lives, right?
And
we could actually like affect real change.
Yeah. Let's be honest. What better character than the extremely manly, godlike, adultering Kratos
All of it.
to take
Unapologetic.
and actually break him down a little bit like that to see the moving pieces within. Yeah.
You know, one of the things for me was what 2018 did. It changed and not only the script, but the writers, fellow actors, crew. It started with Corey. I at that point had been in Hollywood for 30 years. Powerful men screamed, yelled, told you were wrong. When now Corey had been part of God of War since the beginning. He took that franchise and burned it to the ground. He so believed in this idea of change for KRATOS and what it represented. But he embodied it. He was so singular-minded in his vision. It never wavered. I don't know who's watched Raising KRATOS, but the studio wasn't sold on this. We never knew the pressure he was under. So even though he was so singular-minded in his vision, you could still present him your ideas and he would listen. Whether he was gonna do them or not is irrelevant. He made you feel heard. And it showed me true power is not in your muscles. It's not in lording it over people. It's empowering people. And using your position to uplift everyone. And that's what Corey did. He made everyone feel that their voice was important. From me, Danielle, whole cast, to people who cleaned the props, people who made the props, to fucking COVID monitoring. He made everyone better. That's what being a man is. Not keeping people down, raising people up. We talk. And it changed my idea on what being a man is.
Beautiful.
Amazing. We're going to open up to some questions here in a moment, but I have one more question for you guys. What is your favorite comfort food? And what do you think your character's favorite comfort food would be?
Well, pasta, obviously, for the Italian women. What would be her comfort food? Well, it definitely wouldn't be anything of the pork persuasion, because Hilda Sweeney is one of her best friends, her shape-shifting boar. Let me get back to you on that.
Not lamb's crust stew.
No, not lamb's crust. Probably something of the vegetable persuasion. I mean, she's Vanir. She's very earthy goddess, so she probably eats a little. I'm going to say she eats a little meat, but I don't want anyone in the meat. I knew it. I couldn't say it. Possibly some fish, maybe a little fish, but I think probably in the vegetable, maybe like a vegetable stew. Let's say that. A hearty vegetable stew.
Mine personally is short ribs. Anywhere I go that has short ribs, that's what I import. So when I work out, because I'm fat, because I'm kind of a douchebag, I stay in the same hotel room whenever we work. So the restaurant has these wonderful short ribs, and they're just rich. This is probably too much information.
Come on, lay it on us.
So it gives me diarrhea.
You asked for it.
Now you know some of the things we were talking about when we weren't discussing the script. Okay.
So it's always, so I had to start limiting myself to like I can have it maybe once a week at the hotel, not like every day. I have no idea why I said. I know that's too much.
This is TMI. This is the definition.
So anyway, that is my go-to comfort food. For Kratos, I think it's just anything as long as it goes with meat.
Oh, yes.
You know,
Okay.
like
I feel like there's a
really,
bone attached to it, though.
Yeah, tomahawk steak.
Boy, is there!
Yeah. I think it's ripped off whatever animal, and it's just right off the bone. This guy. Can't take him anywhere. You're not, I'm telling you.
Hey, if you're gonna throw a fastball over the heart of the plate,
Okay? You're gonna hit it, even we'll give it. All right.
well, yes, that's one more.
We're gonna stop where we're headed. Mimir. Okay, here we go. Mead. M-E-A-D. There we go. Okay. We got there. We got there.
Wonderful, Jen. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to open up to questions now. Does anybody have any questions?
Before you ask your question, please introduce yourself.
Yes.
Say where you're from.
We got that gentleman there. We got the gentleman in the front.
Hi, my name is Emeka. I'm from Nigeria, and I have been like just really touched by these games. Like they just do so much to me. And kind of, this is for both of you, right? But like, so I know how much Corey was so instrumental. Like just the first one in 2018. And I remember you saying that like, oh, if it wasn't Corey, you weren't going to do it, right? So like, what had to happen? Well, like, what did Eric have to do to kind of like get you like, okay, yeah, I want to be a part of this, right? So that's my question.
Eric and I are much more similar than Corey. Corey's like artistic and like wistful. Me and Eric eat with our hands. You know what I mean? We're like kind of more workers. And not that, let me tell you, Eric's one of the most brilliant cats I've ever met. But he's more to the point. Like if Corey gives you an answer, there's a lot of hearts and flowers.
And ellipses.
And sunshine and roses. Eric's is belching and farting. And not the way he, but I'm talking about the explosiveness in which he conveys things and do it. So in some ways, it was easier for me working with Eric because we speak the same language as far as being able to convey ideas. So the one thing that perfectly summed up our relationship was one of the fights where Kratos in Ragnarok, where Kratos sees the triptych. So 2018 was about me and my kids. But that had sort of been resolved to me, so now we're just going back revisiting. Ragnarok was me. I spent the majority of my life not feeling like I was ever worthy of being loved, nor did I have the capacity to love. So that, when Kratos sees that triptych, that hit me like a villain. And because I really hadn't seen it. And so I was devastated by it. That was really me. So I tried not to rehearse. So we didn't. We kind of just went where the camera would be. So that first take, I couldn't stop it. I couldn't reel it back in. And then after take, I couldn't stop crying. So, after every take, but a lot of the takes we go behind and get feedback or watch it back. And so Eric kind of met me halfway to the monitors, and he put his arms around me and says, "That was beautiful. It was everything we're looking for. Now give me one we can use." That is our relationship. And it's like, I appreciate, sure, I appreciate flowers and lullabies like that. I appreciate, there's that side of it. But I'm much more in touch with, we can't use it. Reel it in so we can use it. And that, for me, like really worked, you know? Because sometimes in 2018, it would take me a few takes because they would just let me get that. Ragnarok, but also there's a different time element to it because we had lost 9 months, 8 months to COVID. So we weren't afforded that time-wise. And, you know, it was, he said it and understood. You can't use this. Like, there's no way you can use this. So that's our relationship. And I told Corey outside, we had gone outside when we were at Tribeca, and when he first laid it on me, and I said, whoever is Eric Williams, this one's going to be a beast. Eric Williams is a beast.
Yeah, to that point, you know, Freya, she lays bare her soul just about in every scene. And I think maybe why people root for her or relate with her is because she's so honest about how she's feeling, you know. And so that was a great opportunity for me as an actress, and as I am an actress who does like to do the notes and the rabbit hole and all of it, there's a lot that I bring to every moment, and you can feel that, and sometimes, like Chris was talking about it needs to be pulled back. And so why Corey was so great for me in, well, you know, they're self-driven. I'm more like Corey. I'm rainbows and butterflies and fairies and emotion and ellipses. But go on. And I'm not as simply stated as Eric in Eric's ways, which was why it was so vital to have him in Ragnarok, because I already had the groundwork for all the emotion. I had the groundwork to come in on the downbeat and want his head on a platter. I had all the raw emotion when I was ripping those roots out, and it was very relevant to a lot of personal things in my life, feeling, you know, stuck to ancestral curses or career curses or relationship curses, whatever it was, and I got to rip all that out. There were puddles of tears everywhere. But when it came to the simplicity of Freya's strength and being so simply spoken and to the point, that's where Eric was the elixir for me to come in and really just hone in what this moment is about. And he'd come in just like a little gift. And it would be as simple as a sentence. You know, whereas if it was Corey or Matt, we could really kind of get into the feeling of it all. Well, I already had all of that going. And so for him, he really gave me the ground beneath Freya's feet and those Valkyrie wings that were always there, that were just waiting to come back out when she finally found her redemption. So they both were perfectly suited for both games.
Perfect. Anyone on this day?
I wanted to ask you about, my name is Violet. I am named from, nervous. I'm from Tacoma, Washington. I wanted to ask you about the Valhalla DLC and how you transformed a man forgiving himself for past, like, pantheon killing into something that was just so relatable. I used to be a very angry person myself, and that DLC helped me so much.
That too was kind of an extension of that final scene. Because ultimately, you have to forgive yourself for stuff, because that then opens you to be a vessel. To love other people, to be empathetic, but you can't be a resource for anyone else till you're a resource for yourself. You know, I used to really downplay. I did another character who was fairly successful, Teal. So people would say, you know, oh, Teal's a great character, and I always go, I just got lucky, you know, what. and this is not braggadocious. I know I'm a great one. Like, I know how good I am. And in that empowers me to to be perfectly comfortable with someone else being great. And we all have greatness in us. All of us. The greatest thing my mother ever gave me was she said that everyone is smarter than you or more interesting than you. And if you don't take the time to find out why or in what it is, that's on you. And now I really do feel like that. I really do like looking people in the eye and really connecting with people. And it was truly just about being okay with who I am. Whatever that is, I don't know. I don't need to define it. I just need to be okay that I'm me. And that allows me to be okay with whoever else I'm around. Because there's no judgment. I love you, I dig you. You know why? Because you're you. That's it. I hope that wasn't too much.
We accept you for who you are, Chris.
Adderall is going full fledged.
Well, you know when the mama comes out, there's some deep things going on.
See, that's the way foreign policy should be. That was so simple.
Hi, I'm Dylan from Montana, but I live in Tacoma. So, huge fan of the game, just been a fan forever. Obviously, there are massive set-piece moments in God of War, you know, storming the gates of Asgard while a giant serpent is flinging people all over the place. But I think the thing that stood out to me was the quieter moments, particularly like the quieter moments outside of the main narrative that you could totally skip over if you were just kind of mainlining the game. Two that really stuck out to me, there's a moment in Alfheim where you're releasing these like giant jellyfish, and also, spoiler warning, Brock's
If they ain't played like that, they're damn.
yeah, right, get out. Brock's funeral at the end of the game. You know, really quiet, subdued moments, but honestly had some of the most impactful, emotional components of the game. And I was just wondering kind of how you bring weight to those quieter moments and make them, in a lot of ways, speak louder than some of those massive set-piece parts of the game.
I mean, we lived into those moments. That's the beauty of it. And I will always throw it back to our writers, you know. They did not leave any stone unturned in these journeys. And they had the luxury of time because these are 40, 50 hour long games, right? These are, you are connecting with these people in real time. So it was not difficult in that moment to have all the gravitas, all the emotion of just longing for our friend. You know, and of course Freya has a very mixed relationship with Brooke because he drives her a little crazy, but even still, you know, it's just, the look in everybody's eye when he was dying, and sorry, spoiler, yes, you played it, but it's you know, in Sindri's hands, I mean, just Adam's heartbreak, we were all weeping together. So, you know, I guess you could liken it to maybe like a great television series because you've had all this time to be with these characters. So by the time we hit that, we didn't need to add anything. We were present, we were there in the moment, all of us united in that one heartbreak of losing a family member.
Well, you know, there's, every time you see an interview with an actor, and they talk about their time on set, what do they say? We were like a family. Bullshit. Sets are generally terrible fucking places. There's lots of egos, there's who's gonna come out of the trailer last, who's gonna blah, blah, blah. We truly, because of the shared experience of it, there's no hierarchy, it was like everyone cared about each other. So when we did Rock, so first of all, Robert is such a big personality. So we shot with him the first half of that day. And all he's doing is going around, I'm fucking dead. I'm dead.
You had to kill off the blue guy.
I left for 20 minutes. Like, he made it like it was the March on Washington. You had to kill off the blue guy. So we were dreading the afternoon because we knew that's what we were shooting. But we laughed so much that morning. We had maybe the longest scene we've ever shot, where the going up down the elevators. So everything is still one take. Last line was Robert's. And he was notorious for screwing up the last line. And we'd have to do everything all
One
over.
take.
So this is the most complex scene as far as choreography and camera moves. And I mean, just in the script, it was 10, 11, 12 pages. So we're having problems just getting between runs. So finally, everything works. And it gets to Robert, and he's like, yeah, oh shit. And we all just went, oh my God, he had one line. Like,
So what's like it was one line.
and so there is, because we're sort of under the gun to get it done. And so there was this moment of just silence. And then we all just burst out laughing because of course it's gonna be Bobby who messes up the last line of an 11-page scene and just goes, oh shit! So, but that was, and it was wonderful. The joy that came out of that. Because we knew what we were facing with Bob. And that was the last scene we were ever going to shoot.
I think he did it on purpose because he didn't want to leave. He just wanted to keep screwing up and stay there forever.
But that was kind of just a microcosm of what our set was, you know. And that was terrible. And Adam, oh my God. I've known Adam. I met Adam, the pilot, starting. That's how long we've been friends. And to see his growth and evolution, not only as a person, but just as an actor, I mean, couldn't have been too sweet. And holy shit, did he come with his bag for me. Oh, I mean, every day he did. But to see him just let it fly. Oh, there was just, some stuff didn't make it because it was too much. I mean, it was like, literally, you looked around, our sound people, our mobile guys are crying, our makeup people are crying. It was, oh man, it was terrible. It was wonderful. And that was just a person just being free to explore whatever is going on. Because none of us really know. You and I kind of probably know better about each other than anyone else. But we aren't privy to where they're going and what it is. We're just privy to the fact that they feel comfortable to let it out here. You know? But yeah, that day was terrible. It wasn't a lot of acting that day. It was just raw. This sucks.
All right, what about this side again? What's your name?
Wait a minute. Rock got covered by paper over there. I think it's Rock's turn.
We'll come back to Rock.
Hi, my name is Christopher. I live over in Bremerton.
Wow, has
Christopher.
anyone ever told you you're incredibly handsome? Is that
I just wanted to ask you guys, would you consider chicken nuggets fried chicken?
Wait,
When you think about it.
you mean like to eat them? Is this the question? And
what else do you do with chicken and chicken?
I don't know because there's so many inside things that I'm not privy to. I like chicken nuggets when they're made from real chickens. Yes.
I love that we've been here for an hour and you got the chance to ask a question and that was it.
And me trying to deconstruct the question, what does he mean by chicken nuggets? Let me go do some research and get back to you.
I'll throw the one curveball in here.
I hate to break it to you. Chicken nuggets ain't food. That's not food.
They're pots of protein in your mouth. They're fantastic. Okay, we gotta move on. I'm gonna eat the chicken nugget.
That's
He's
not food. That's not food. You shouldn't be eating chicken. I got no stock me down, fuck me down on they're not, that's not food.
Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A.
That
Okay.
ain't food, it's processed stuff.
Okay, who we got?
All right, back to the guy with rock, paper, scissors.
Rock, what's up?
Rock man. So my name's Caleb. I'm from the Seattle area. I just wanted to ask a quick question. Like, obviously, you guys have done your own fair share of like traditional, like on-screen acting and stuff like that. But with like the mocap and stuff like that, was that something that like was a big hurdle for you guys to overcome in bringing the performance to fair, or was that something that felt pretty natural after like an initial adjustment period?
I talk about this often because it's the most uncomfortable suit you'll ever have on. In some ways, because you're Velcroed, right? So every now and then you'll Velcro up against somebody, get stuck, or the long, like rod, this is like iron rod thing with the camera on the end. Like Chris and I get close, try to whisper something in each other's ears before you know it, our horns will get locked. So it is not comfortable. But once I think it's just like anything, it becomes part of your flesh. Like at first it felt like a suit, and then it just felt like second nature to be able to have that kind of freedom. And it is a lot like I say, theater in the round. We're acting freely. I know he loves it. He loves the fact that I'm from the theater. But it is because we have that freedom, right, where we're not doing the close-up, and it's never stiff. It was always fluid with choreography and the magic of what was happening in the moment. And that is why I think you felt just the magic and the visceral realness of what was going on. So once we got past the helmet, which would sort of decompress the spine, the pack around the waist that would heat up because it was where the sound and the batteries were, the Velcro not getting stuck, and the fact that it was the most unflattering onesie on the planet, yeah, it was okay. We got through it.
Once the initial kind of weirdness of it, especially the helmets, to me that was kind of the weirdest part. I don't know if you know this. This is the first time I've actually. I wore a suit that was a size smaller because I wanted Kratos to have this certain physicality. So I always wanted to feel like the suit was constraining and I was trying to get out of it, and I was bigger. And so when I would come in the mornings, I could laugh and joke around. And so in the mornings, like when people were eating, like every day I'd come in and go, whoa! Just to start the day off. But I wasn't Kratos yet because I didn't have the suit on, right? So then when I would put on the suit and I'd feel that constraining, hot, sweaty thing, I would feel like Kratos. And it's like skin tight, and I mirror right by my door, so I'd walk, I'd take a peek at Kratos, and I'd say, boy, you look like the wrong ticket. And then I was Kratos. Because it kind of just allowed me to kind of step out. So like, people don't realize like how important wardrobe is when you do different roles. And so for me, it's always the last but most important step in transition is the wardrobe. And that's when I would start to feel like Kratos, is when I did up that last zipper and went and got all the tape and all that stuff. And then the pack was, and I don't know if you do this, I always have to wrench my tongue, the helmet really tight. So I was always in a bit of discomfort. And I was always on the verge of being really snippy. I was always like kind of, fuck, this helmet hurts. But that gave me a different edge than just walking around as Chris like this, going like, hey, woo! That allowed me mentally to, because some mornings it was really hard to go, I gotta get paid again. Shit, this is gonna hurt. You know, so I would physically inflict the pain to allow myself to get to the emotions. So it was all kind of a process.
Did not know that. That's excellent.
Awesome. Yeah, we will take one more question from this side. I think we got.
Anybody in the back, y'all? Come on. Anybody? Okay, let's go back in the back, all the way back. And what's your name?
Thank you. My name is Arthur. I live in Denver, Washington, and I'm actually from Newburgh, Oregon. My question is for the two of you. What? Yeah. Who or
I love you, dog.
I had to say it. I'm from there. Who or what was your inspiration or influence in becoming those characters? And then after that, my second question is, if you could be or play any other person or character, past or present, who would it be?
Well, once I knew it was the goddess Freya, you know, when I went into the audition, I was basically like, what would Khaleesi do? Because I just pretended like I was auditioning for the Game of Thrones, because it was this great speech. It felt like Lady Macbeth meets, you know, Lady Stark and some serious Khaleesi, like speaking to her people or about her people. So again, all of my theater training came through. yes, my theater acting. So I think I was just sort of calling upon all the great queens and leaders and goddesses before me. I didn't feel necessarily like there was one in particular that informed her. She was an amalgamation of a lot of the fantasy and lore that I grew up with. Very big Arthurian Legends fan, so there was some Guinevere meets, you know, Morgan Le Fay, right? Because you have the satyr magic and the fairy-like stuff, and then you have the queen, which was Guinevere. But I will say that when I was playing her a bit too regal for a while, and I think that Corey, they really wanted me to understand, no, that's who she was in yesteryear, now she's a shell of what she once was. And so there's sort of this bravado, like she doesn't give a flying F, you know, because it's all been taken away. And all of her best intentions were used against her. And the betrayal was so deep, and she was hollowed out by it, just absolutely gutted. And so with that sort of F-you attitude, Corey one day came up to me and he said, I just need you to put a little Han Solo into it. Now, I grew up watching Star Wars. I told someone I'm from a big Italian family, so the Holy Trilogy was, you know, pasta, Jesus, and Star Wars. Like that was basically how, I know. Try to wrap your head around it. It's going to be my life memoir one day, and I hope you'll buy the book. It was pasta, Jesus, and Star Wars, not in any particular order, but I'll probably, yeah. And so I know Han Solo. I knew what he was talking about. There's this like devil-may-care irreverence there that I did not quite get. And I swear to God that night I had a dream about Han Solo. I'm not going to give you the details, but it was a fabulous dream. And then the next day came to set and had that swagger.
Ugly gone.
You knew the Han Solo story. And Han Solo somehow informed that aspect of who Freya was now. And from that moment forward, she was just like, the embodiment was really easy. But did that answer your question?
First one. Then there's the second half.
Yeah.
Who would you play?
Wonder Woman, clearly, is my dream, absolute. Have the underoos. Don't still wear the same underoos, but have the outfit, have played her.
Really tight.
Yeah, that's right. I'm taking a page out of his playbook and wearing those little underoos. No, have worked, got to be her in the Lego Movie 2 video game, got to play her many Halloweens and for nieces and nephews, but to embody her would be absolutely incredible. And she is a goddess of love after all, and very much like King Arthur, uses might for right, and does not believe that might is right, and as a last resort, she will use that might to teach people the errors of their ways. And I feel like if we could have more of that perspective in our leadership, right, the diplomacy that's lacking, that's what my heart sets out to do if ever I got the opportunity to play Diana of the Mascara Underworld.
When I got KRATOS, I had voice coaching but not for depth, not for deepness, not for, the studio, without talking to Corey, had decided that KRATOS was gonna have a British accent. So they paid me handsomely to undergo dialect coaching. So our first day on set, first scene is one of those cursed boat scenes. And my first line in this entire process was, "Boy, stay away from the water." Cut! So Corey, now this is his first interaction with me as my director. And I had just put myself through a training regime that, I was the most muscular and the most shredded I've ever been. And Corey's not a big fella. So it took him like a half hour to walk from here to where you are. And I'm like, what's going on? I don't know what it is. So I kind of hear like, Chris, was that a British accent? And I go, well, I guess not if you gotta ask me. And Corey, and there's a lot of kids in the room. Corey goes, why the fuck are you doing that? And I was like, what do you mean? You just paid for me to have dialect coaching for the last 3 months. No, we didn't. Yes, you did. Or I wouldn't have been there. He's like, what? And I was like, yeah, I've been taking these dialect. It's like, fuck that. Do what you did in the audition. That's what I'm here. Like, what the hell? So Sony, oh shit, I should have said.
A few people recording this, let's just edit that.
Well, no one was there that was there. Someone, and I don't know if it was Sony. And I don't know how, had just decided that KRATOS was going to have a British accent. Of course, that means powerful and evil to Americans. So, yeah, that's how I prepared. Getting rid of this British accent that I apparently hadn't learned very well. But yeah, all my stuff on the exterior, that was just extemporaneous. I prepared for KRATOS by just getting ready to be in pain. Emotional pain. That was my preparation. Like, I didn't watch anybody else's performances. I just literally said, I'm gonna vomit my emotions. And I hope it works. That was my preparation. It worked. Thank you, my brother. Yeah. Oh!
Which character would you play?
No. You guys are slackers. I really, I know, but it's not a character that I created. That would probably be what I want. Because Mandela's been, he's been, Malcolm X has been played. There is one guy, and this sounds weird. There's a brother who is the most prolific serial killer in the history of North America. They have confirmed he killed 120 people. It could be 600. But he has an eidetic memory. And so he could not only sketch picture quality portraits of these people he killed, but remembered the outfits they had on from 35, 40 years ago to the T, specifically remembered how to kill them specifically. And the only reason is there were interviews with him, as older, but also he was like this artist and this Renaissance man. And that journey of go from that to being the most prolific serial killer in the history of North America, excluding the government.
Excluding regimes.
And that has always interested me. And in the fact of what along the line of nature versus nurture, or a combination of both, made this man take that route. Was it cumulative? Was it one incident? And the exploration of that is the exploration of the human condition. Because for the first time in my life, I think that I can actually do it. Because you talk about having the, so it's, okay, not even, it's very painful. Emotional scarring like that. This to plumb, what does it take to take somebody's life? Where do you have to be to do that? It's so fascinating to me. So if there was a character that is not fictional, it would probably be that. It's so fascinating to me.
It's your answer, you stick with it.
Oh, maybe that's how I lived out.
All right, everyone.
I want to add one thing.
Yeah,
Two things.
absolutely.
I think I've been trying to talk Chris into doing Macbeth and Lady Macbeth with me because I don't know where or when or how, but I think it might be in the theater. Would that not be so much fun? To play the
Hell no.
How about this?
I got too many kids to be doing
Too many
theater.
kids, you can't do the theater. Well, also what could be fun is playing Kratos and Freya in the Amazon TV series. That could also be fun.
That.
I know I want to.
You know, God bless you, you should be, but I don't know who the hell they would get to be near what you've done. Me personally, I just don't know if I want to look like that. Series, if you're like the title character in a series, that's 16 to 20 hours a day, every single day. And I like my life. I love spending time with my kids.
That's all.
I love mom.
Yes! Yes! I saw the title of Spicers.
And honestly, if it comes time to make that decision, I honestly don't know. I really don't know. Because no amount of money in the world replaces lost time. And I'm not going to be the same grandfather as I was a dad. I'm going to see my grandkids' first steps. I'm going to hear my grandkids' first words. And I am unveiling. So if that is the decision that needs needs to be made. You'll see me with my grandson on the golf course. I mean, here truly in my heart, I just hope whoever it is that plays KRATOS loves this motherfucker much as we do. That's all I ask, and that they're willing to give everything to this man. That's it. That's it. No matter who it is, I just hope they love him.
All right, everyone. That was a great note to end on. Now, I really botched the introduction, so let's please allow me to redeem myself and give a huge hand to Danielle Bisutti and Christopher Jones.